Hello and welcome to the Local Live on this Thursday evening, January 22nd. I'm Brenda Blanco bringing you the only news show covering the Mamaroneck, Larchmont, and Rhinebeck communities. Let's take a look at the stories we have tonight. What's Larchmont 125? Stay tuned to find out in our live roundtable. What's new in our school district? Coming up, the highlights from the latest meeting. And for our varsity sports fans, don't go anywhere. We got the LMC TV play of the week. How did we celebrate Martin Luther King Day? Stay tuned for our community segment. And last but not least, get ready to greet our pet of the week. Students' health was the main focus at this week's Mamaroneck School Board meeting. Revised Policy 5405 regarding student wellness was readopted anonymously by the board. It includes educating students on proper nutrition and getting them to see that a variety of physical activities are part of a healthy lifestyle. Another highlight was the possibility of a school-based health center at the Mamaroneck Avenue School run by the nonprofit organization Open Door. Open Door is also looking to lease 2 floors at a property a few doors from the school. Let's take a listen at some parents' reactions.
We don't have a community medical center here in Mamaroneck that is comprehensive. There are hundreds of families that have to go outside of the community to get care. For those without a car, it's much harder and very expensive.
Everybody made some pretty good points. I didn't hear one person comment on what it's going to do about a population increase. There was mention of 180 families marked as homeless. How many additional families are we going to be drawing in homeless with a free health clinic in the school?
There is not a school-based health center on this planet that makes money. This is an organization with a solid sense of responsibility to the underserved and communities needing health care as well as other services.
But I have to say that if this clinic comes into Mamaroneck Avenue School, my children would no longer attend the school, and they're not happy about that. They already know that.
Though the meeting was heated at times, for the most part, it was agreed that more information was needed, along with the possibility of the community working with an independent body to produce a comprehensive needs assessment in order to determine the next steps. Remember that you can access the full meeting online at our website, lmctv.org. This week's In the Media focuses on what's trending online in our local newspapers.
Hungry for a hot dog with, well, from Walters, but you haven't got any cash? Well, not to worry. Reports the Hamlet Hub, the village's famous eatery now accepts credit cards. Also in the Hamlet Hub, 2 1985 grads of Mamaroneck High School are nominated for Oscars this year. They're lifelong friends and both contributed to the same film, Foxcatcher. Bennett Miller directed and Dan Futterman co-wrote the movie's screenplay. Well, from my photo album of those days when I taught both boys, here they are in MHS TV's control room learning how to edit. Best of luck, Bennett and Dan. The Loop has the scoop on classes being offered this spring at the Center for Continuing Education, the history of gin, dealing with your iPhone and iPad, or how about a cooking lesson and tasting at Dubrovnik Restaurant? Read The Loop for the insider's look on all these classes, as well as a link to register. And last, believe it or not, summer is just a few short months away, and the Larchmont Ledger has a story about choosing the right summer camp experience for your child. Finding the best fit is not an easy job, and it does take some research. The current issue of the Ledger has all the details. Well, those are just a few of the stories that caught my eye this week in the media. I'm Mike Witch.
Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, our live roundtable will start.
Hello there. We here at The Local Live want to be your main source for staying current with news happening in the Larchmont Mamaroneck community. With that in mind, we'd like to take the time to establish what The Local Live can and can't do.
Can The Local Live inform me about upcoming community events?
Yes, we'll let you know about all the upcoming parades and fairs and have coverage of it to watch in case you missed it.
Can The Local Live cover what's going on in our local government?
Yes, we offer in-depth coverage of the local government and school board meetings in the Larchmont Mamaroneck area and frequently have sit-downs with our elected officials.
Hey, can Local Live tell me exactly where in my body the aliens put the microchip?
No, sorry, we can't do that.
Can Local Live keep me up to speed with local high school sports?
Yes, we can. We'll have the highlight reels from all the Panthers and Tigers games.
Can the Local Live give my pet ostrich the power of human speech?
What? No. No, of course not.
Can the Local Live cover local businesses?
Yes, we can. We've done profiles of numerous local businesses and we'll cover more in the future.
Alright, the Local Live, can you confirm my suspicions that Bigfoot lives in the harbor? I've seen him.
Can we cut his feed, please?
Hey, no, cut happy silence. Truth shall be revealed. Anyway.
If you want more news about local government, businesses, high school sports, and everything going on in town, tune to The Local Live, Thursday nights at 7:30 on Channel 75 if you have Cablevision, and Channel 36 for Verizon customers. And remember, we want to hear from you, the home viewer. Tell us what you think in person, online, or over the phone.
Can you say Quasquicentennial? That's what we're discussing for the Village of Larchmont, their 125th anniversary. I'm Maura Carlin, and with me is Mike Witch.
And as always, you could join the conversation by phone, email, or tweet. The information on how to contact us is on the screen throughout our conversation. Find out how you can get involved in the festivities.
And joining us are Larchmonter Dee Van Eyck, who's heading their 125th celebration, and Trustee Peter Fanelli. Thank you for joining us. I had to practice saying Quasquicentennial. That's quite a word. Are you really going with that?
Well, we may shorten it to something like the Quasqui.
Oh, I like that. So what is Larchmont 125?
It will be the celebration of 125 years since the incorporation as a village. So it happened in September of 1891. So
we actually have a tweet from a viewer who wanted to know what the story is on how Larchmont came to be. So,
well, okay.
1891?
1891. At the 1st of September in 1891, they had to get enough villagers to vote. And they took a census. You had to have a certain number of people. I think you had to have 300 people within 1 square mile. Well, they waited until the end of the summer to do it so that all of the summer residents were there. So they had 900 people. And it all passed except for one vote. Someone voted against it.
Were there more summer residents than year-round residents at that time?
It was a summer community.
Because this was started as sort of a summer community for New York City, rich and famous.
And it was called the Larchmont Manor Society? Or Larchmont Manor, what?
It was the Larchmont
Company.
Larchmont Manor Company, and that was T.J.S. Flint, and he and some of his partners started it it was a real estate venture.
Okay.
And they had these summer cottages, and cottages, they're these huge houses. And so, the rich and famous came out from New York City to spend time.
Speaking of the rich and famous, and particularly the famous part, we're going to ask all our viewers to call, tweet, email, who do you think was the most famous person who resided in Larchmont at any time, now or in the past, or when Dee and Peter first came here 125 years ago? No, seriously, neither of you look 125 even combined, okay? But seriously, who do you think were the most famous Larchmonters?
Well, for me, to be candid, it's going to have to be my grandfather who came here in 1923.
Wow. Okay.
And just happened to get off the train at the wrong stop. And,
set up shop?
Found his way around the goats and the chickens running by the train station, and ran into an old buddy that had a hair salon, and asked Louis if he wanted a job. He took it, and he's established his roots here in 1923. And we have never left the community since. There's always been a Fanelli in the village of Larchmont since that time. So for him, but I know there's others, Mary Pickford and...
Well, she's my favorite.
She is your favorite.
Yeah, well, she was an actress and a producer and director, and she used to take her little duck for walks in Manor Park on a little
duck?
pink ribbon. Yes, she had a pet duck.
Okay.
Yes.
That was before goose poop was a problem, I assume.
Yes, it was before.
Was
the
she
goose.
living here to work in the D.W. Griffith
was.
movies in the neighboring village?
She was.
Okay.
We, this whole event got kicked off this morning in Larchmont Village Hall.
Let's hear about it. What happened today?
And we've got some pictures.
Okay.
Without sound because we haven't had a chance to edit this yet. But we can, as we talk, we can show you a little bit about what happened this morning in Larchmont Village Hall, and you can comment on it.
This was a glorious day for the village of Larchmont. Larchmont throws a great party. Always has. And, 125...
That's because there's a Fanelli in town.
There you go. 125 is going to be a year-long celebration. It's not about just a quick in, up, and out. It's going to be a whole array of celebrations, parties, parades, festivities. And we're going to get everyone involved in the 10538, which is what we're talking about, the 10538.
And the people that we're seeing, are these part of the team that
These all
is
part of
putting
the
this
team.
together?
These were some volunteers, too, who agreed to dress up in 1890s costumes, just to give a flavor of what Larchmonters wore back in those days. Also,
Right.
you saw the firefighters.
Yes.
The volunteer fire department celebrates its 125th the same time because they also incorporated at the same time as the village did.
So today was the kickoff of your event planning because the event's still almost a year and a half away. I mean, the actual anniversary.
Right,
September.
but we are in September. But we're going to start at September of this year.
Start the festivities.
The festivities. We're going to kick it off with a bang.
What do you have planned so far?
Well, you want to... Okay.
Give a little info
Give
out?
a little info out. Sure.
There you go.
We're going to start it off with the mayor's proclamation and a big birthday party. So we're talking birthday cake for everybody. That's what we're going to try to do. And then during the course of the year, all these organizations within the village and some outside, they have ideas of planning their own celebrations and tying it into the 125. But we're going to have a parade. It's the Decades Parade. So every division will be a different decade. So that'll be fun with transportation and costuming and all of those things.
From the 1890s up through
All
today.
the way through, well, and beyond. We might have
Ooh.
a future one.
I
mean,
150 party.
150. And then to wind it down at the end, well, not really, I'd say ramp it up, we'll have hopefully fireworks, that'd be great, but an 1890s vintage ball. So everybody out
Gloves
in
and everything.
Oh yeah, the gloves,
full
the
guard.
tiara, the guys in white tie and tails.
I read something about historical trolley tours
Yes.
and a time capsule. Can you talk a little about that?
The time capsule is something that is intriguing. I think that what we're really trying to do is get the youth involved. So elementary, middle school, the high schoolers, that's our legacy. I mean, 25 years from now, I know we'll still be looking good, and we'll still, and we'll still be.
We
in
can
town.
roll this tape.
But it's all about the kids.
Yeah.
Well,
And
and
so
one
that's
of
what
the
we wanna
ways we're going to
establish
do that with the kids for the time capsule is at Chatsworth School. They were very involved in the 100th celebration, and they had a time capsule at the school. So this time capsule is going to be for Larchmont, and we're going to, or I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to choose 10 to 12 fifth graders graduating from Chatsworth, so that they become sesquicentennians for that 150th, and they will start their little meetings and their planning so that by the time they're 25 years older, they will be the foundation for starting that celebration.
So ideally, the time capsule is going to want to go into Constitution Park, which is right next to the Village Hall. And hopefully, if there's enough money, we'd like to renovate that park and truly make it like a town square. And as the time capsule will be sort of the centerpiece. And that's the way we're thinking. It really all depends about how we do on the fundraising. And but that's one of the focuses. I know there's this talk of a clock, and there's some other things going on. Wide open, I think, at this time for pretty much anything.
So you're still looking for ideas.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
And one
Get
of the
involved.
first things you are looking for, I believe, is a logo?
The logo contest started today,
It did.
and it closes on March 9th. And
Okay.
you're allowed to submit 3 different designs, the one artist, And it's whatever you feel represents Larchmont. It has to say the word Larchmont on it, and it has to say 125 in the design.
And anyone from here can enter.
Anyone
It
from
doesn't
the
even have
105.3.
to be. Well, it doesn't even have to be 10538. We've expanded it to anyone who has any feeling about Larchmont at all. In fact, there's a Facebook page called "You Must Be from Larchmont, Mamaroneck If," and I've already been feeding them little bits of information. There are people who want to know the dates of the celebration and the different events. They want to plan their vacations around it. These are people that don't even live in the country. They want to come back, and I think that's exciting.
Speaking of social media, there is a website. I think it's larchmont125.org.
Yes.
And that's a central place where people could go. You're going to post information there.
It'll be updated daily.
Okay.
And as activities arise and things get scheduled, they will be on the master calendar. And there'll be information about getting involved in terms of volunteering and, as Dee was talking about earlier, any ideas you might have. Because alumni, as we were talking about, we want to bring them back. The grads that left the district have moved away, but still follow us online. We'd like to see them come back and say, hey.
Everybody
Is
has
there any truth to the rumor
memories.
that you're trying to lure Walters to Larchmont?
They're not budging.
Let me ask you, you keep referring to 10538. Not all 10538 is actually Village of Larchmont. Sorry to get political, but how does that work with the municipality lines?
Well, we had talked about keeping it so that, just to say it was the Village of Larchmont, we felt was too small. The 10538 area code encompasses the town, St. John and Paul Church.
You mean zip code?
Zip code, yeah, we wanted to open it up. So this is a good thing, because the more the merrier. I mean, as Dee was saying.
And just because you live in the town doesn't mean that you don't consider yourself a Larchmonter.
And you're in the technical village. We leave the town, we go into the village, and vice versa.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And also the people in New Rochelle that live in Larchmont Woods. I mean, they consider themselves Larchmonters too, and that's fine. We're not exclusive. We want everybody to
The
come.
more the better.
Let's have
Absolutely.
a party.
Yep.
Now, Larchmont is named for a tree.
It is the larch tree.
Very
Are there
ugly
larch
little tree.
trees still in Larchmont?
There are still larch
There
trees
are.
in town.
You know,
I don't know
how
what it
did
looks like.
What I would like to know is how it got here, because as I understand it, a larch is not indigenous to this area, is it?
Scottish tree.
How did it get here?
Okay. Well, Peter J. Monroe, people know the house on Elm, 18 Elm, as the Manor House. And when he built that house, he had a gardener who was from Scotland, and the Boston Post Road was the front of the house. The house faced that direction at that time. And the noise going up and down and the dust, they just didn't want to look at it. So they needed a fast-growing shrubbery, and this Scottish gardener sent for some seeds to Scotland and grew these scraggly looking, they look really good for the first couple of years, and then they don't look so good.
And there are still some around.
There are.
Yes.
There are.
Have they been replanted or?
They try.
There's a few.
There's a reason they're not indigenous?
Really, they don't really belong here. But we like the name.
Okay.
And you have so many streets named after trees, too. But not all streets.
We are Tree City, USA for the 31st year.
Is that right?
Is that right?
That is correct.
Bravo.
And with the streetscape, we'll be planting an additional 30, well, we took some trees down, but we're going to creating a new canopy with 36 trees on Palm Island.
Not large trees.
Not large trees.
No. You know, it's something
Select
interesting
species.
on your website. There is a question about street names, and there are 3 full pages about historical people, names and places and how these streets got their names. Addison Street and all the others that are all over the village. Very interesting. Yeah.
A lot of great history here.
Yes, there is.
So what's the most interesting fact about Larchmont?
Goodness.
Is it true that the Underground Railroad came through here?
I wish.
No truth to that?
No.
What about?
Well, hold on. I just have to say that when I was in the Cub Scouts,
I know what they told you.
and we went to the Manor House, and this gentleman said that the whole house down in the basement, we went down there, and it was covered in dirt. And he said that from there, that house there was a tunnel that went from there to the graveyard in the village.
Near
proper.
Sherwood's and
That's
Carlin's
correct.
Cove.
And that sort of building structure there
It's a great story.
was where
Part
they
of the underground.
kind of got in, and they went to the house, and then from there they kind of went down to the manor, to the park. They were picked up by boat, and then off the people went.
Interesting.
I was 10 at the time.
And he believed it.
I
And
did.
you believed
I
it.
bought the story. I've told my kids that story, and my kids believe it. So I guess that legacy continues.
It's a great story.
What about bootlegging?
Oh, there definitely was that. Definitely. And you know, the little coves and everything are perfect cover from going from Long Island and then crossing the Sound and secreting themselves in between. And that's where a lot of those houses, they have those doors and there's a little sliding, it looks like a speakeasy. Well, that wasn't what those were for. That was to let the bootleggers in and not the law. So.
But I understand actually that
There were
liquor store, there was a
Oh,
speakeasy
there
at
were-
Wine Tasters.
There
Is that
were-
right?
That's true.
Because he told us that on
And that
another
is true.
show.
There were, you know, call them speakeasies, they have a different connotation, but there was plenty of drinking that went on during Prohibition here.
No doubt.
No doubt. In fact, one of our Historical Society and Fire History Committee guys, Ned Benton, did an amazing program on Prohibition in Larchmont specifically, and it's on LMC TV's in their archive, so somebody should check it out.
Were there pirates?
I don't know. Sounds romantic.
I'm going to
though.
say there were. Exactly. It just sounds right. I mean, you
All
have
right.
water, you've got old ships, nooks and crannies, come in, have a little swill, and get back on the boat.
Get the eye patch.
Well, Larchmont is such a water community. You've got so much boating. Are there any special things happening with the shore clubs or anything like that?
With the yacht club, I don't know if we've established anything with the 125 with them, but there is talk of doing something during race week, and getting the whole shore community involved. I think everybody's excited about this.
Yeah.
And that's what's so exciting about what's happening is that it's starting to grow legs, and the buzz is a good one. And as it starts to develop, people want to get involved, people want to be a part of it. And if they don't want to be a part of it, they just want to come to the event and have a good time.
And that's fine too.
And make a donation if they can, and let's see where this goes. I mean, we're wide open to really just have a festivity, at least once a month, if not more.
Well, who do people contact if they want to get involved?
Well, they can go to the website, which is larchmont125.org, and there is a contact tab. You could go there, and so you can either write in if you still do snail mail. Lots of people do. So we have a P.O. box. It's P.O. Box 2025, Larchmont, New York 10538. And you can also communicate with us through email, and we'll take suggestions. There's going to be a volunteer page so that you'll just fill out the form and say what your strengths are, what your interests are. But that's the best way.
And speaking about the volunteers, I mean, as of now, there's a core committee, the Founders Club, as we're starting to call it, a great group of people that have met now for months and are really dedicated to making this whole project come to fruition. And we have to give them a real shout out because they've just been doing a great job day in and day out, spreading the word and making sure that things are happening on time and on schedule.
As
And
I
for that, we're
recall, on the website, it talks about donating $125. What's that to go to? The festivities or a memorial or, something to that effect?
Well, since the village is not kicking in for any of these costs.
We are not. The village is not.
No
taxpayer
money.
money.
So note that, everyone, no taxpayer money is
None
going
at
to
all.
this
That is
party.
correct.
It's unlike the 100th anniversary, the village picked up the tab. And what they didn't pick up, Manor Park Society did. And the Historical Society did some things too. But no, this is going to be an all-volunteer, all-donated effort. So something that we came up with, and it's working really well so far, is the Larchmont 125 Founders. So for $125, an individual will be recognized on the website in the commemorative program, and then we're going to have a cocktail party at after the kickoff in September. And so only the founders will be invited. So get your membership
money
card.
Can businesses become part of the event? I mean, is there any special category for local businesses?
Well, there are going to be sponsor levels, and we're also, you talk about the streetscape, you've got those new poles going in, light poles.
We'd like to put some banners up.
Right.
At a
So
certain cost.
that'll be a great opportunity for businesses to do some advertising. Those will be up all year long. And so they'll get a lot of views. Also, individuals can do it, families can do it. It'll be nice.
It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to create, it's a really good vibe going on in the
You
village.
two look very excited about the event.
I know I am.
About the year, actually.
Absolutely.
But we're running out of time,
Okay.
so we would like to thank you for joining us, Steve Van Eyck and Peter Fanelli, check out larchmont125.com and join us next week for a discussion of freedom of speech in an age of terror.
Ooh,
Yeah,
what a
heavy.
follow.
I know.
And I think that's larchmont125.org.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
125.org. And you stay where you are, because we'll be right back with more community stories.
And get involved in 125.
This week in sports, the Mamaroneck Tiger boys basketball team cruised past Eyck in the opening game of their annual Tiger tournament, and junior guard Miles Houghton added the style points in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
Up top, and Genovese picks off the ball. Houghton here with a nice spin move and hits the bucket.
We've got a potential LMC TV Player of the Week with that one.
That's right.
On January 11th, the Larchmont Village Center held an event to honor Martin Luther King Jr. Here's reporter Sasha Malice with more.
We're here at the Larchmont Village Center, where the Human Rights Committee of Larchmont and Mamaroneck have organized an event to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr., the man behind the dream of an equal America.
The Village Center soon filled with many community members and local public officials. Elizabeth Sanger, a member of the Human Rights Committee, shared with us her excitement about Kesha Jaskins, the day's featured speaker, and the recognition of Jane Orens as this year's recipient of the Martin Luther King Jr. Award.
And we're very excited today because today is part 2 of our celebration, 28th annual celebration of in honor, commemoration of the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Gaskin's presentation linked voting rights with the recent events in Ferguson and Staten Island. Gaskins, who is an expert on voter suppression, gave a historical context of voting rights and how in our time, especially after President Obama's election, new restrictive laws exist affecting people's power to choose their representatives in certain states.
This all goes back to these fundamental rights that if you don't have the vote, if you're not able to exercise and organize, you are not going to be able to be the voice to facilitate this change. And it is those outcomes and those challenges that have given rise to the protests in this country, where we still have to rise up and say that Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Jane Orens, a member of the Larchmont community since 1971, received the Martin Luther King Jr. Award for her service as a concerned educator amid fond memories and laughter.
I'm going to just say thank you very much, but I have one message. If we could help the next generation, I know all of you in this room feel responsible for other people, but I'm just afraid that this is getting thinner and thinner, the level of people feeling that they're responsible, partially because we're electronically connected now and whatever, and people don't look at people the same way or whatever. But please, let's make sure that we mention to people that there are other people out there.
Events like this reflect our community's response to the latest incidents in Ferguson and Staten Island to create consciousness and racial equality and to encourage citizens to exercise their power of voting, one main element to guarantee a democracy. This is Sasha Mollis reporting for the Local Live.
Our pet of the week is Mia. She had an unfortunate accident that injured her tail badly, requiring emergency medical care in partial amputation. However, she's bounced back, and while protective of her bones, she's friendly and not aggressive. If you want to adopt Mia, contact the New Rochelle Humane Society. Just log on to www.net, newrochellehumanesociety.org. That is it for this week's Local Live. For more information on the stories aired, you can visit our website, lmctv.org. If you have any comments or questions, email us at thelocallive@lmctv.org. If you'd like to volunteer, please email our senior news producer, Shayla Navarro, at snavaro@lmctv.org. Once again, I'm Brenda Blanco, and thank you for watching the Local Live. See you next week.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.